How is my credit score calculated? Glad you asked. And specifically, I'm going to talk about the Fico score, which is the score that's used by 90+% of entities who are pulling your credit anyway. What up, you got Mr. Smith, 0.5 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video, I want to talk to you about how your scores are calculated. You've probably seen us talk about this several different times as it relates to the 5 factors of your credit. Well, where do you think that comes from? Directly from the horse's mouth, which is the Fico scoring model. If you understand these 5 factors, you understand what you need to do in order to strengthen your credit score and never have to worry about how to keep it intact. Because once you understand these, you can stay on track. Now, I'm going to read this and, just kind of give you a direct viewpoint of some places that you can start resourcing your information so that way you don't feel as though you're just listening to anybody sharing information. Where's the source of their information come from? 2 places it should come from: experience and or the direct sources that distribute the information that actually directly affects and impacts your report. That being said, my Fico is where we're at. And if you haven't already, make sure you grab access to the free credit class. Click the link below. Get access to the free credit class that dives into these a lot deeper and puts you in position to better your score or get assistance if you desire to do so. So let's go about it. What's in my Fico scores? Fico scores are calculated using many different pieces of credit data in your credit report. The data is grouped in 5 categories: payment history, 35%, amount owed, 30%, length of credit history, 15%, new credit, 10% in credit mix, 10% as well. The percentages in the chart reflect how important each of the categories is, determining how your Fico scores are calculated. The importance of these categories may vary from one person to another. We'll cover that in the next section. Your Fico scores consider both positive and negative information in your credit report. Late payments will lower your Fico scores, but establishing or reestablishing a good track record of making payments on time will raise your credit score. The importance of credit categories varies by person. Your Fico scores are unique just like you. They are calculated based on the 5 categories referenced above, but some people, the importance of these categories can be different for some people. For example, scores of people who have not been using credit long will be calculated different than those with a longer credit history. So you got to understand, the person who has a longer credit history has more season and more things compact on top of one another than a new person who hits the ground running with good positives. They'll see a big boost sometimes opposed to somebody who's been establishing credit doing something. You just got to understand the density of their profile opposed to somebody who's just getting the ball rolling. So that's why it operates that way. Your credit report and Fico scores evolve frequently. Because of this, it's not possible to measure exact impact of a single factor in how your Fico score is calculated without looking at your entire report. Even the levels of importance shown in the Fico scores chart above are for the general population and may be different for different credit profiles. Just something to take note of. Your Fico scores only look at information that's on your credit report. So a lot of times people wonder what's all hurting their score. Is their race hurting their score? Is their location, where they live, hurting their score? If it's not on your report, then they're not looking at that, is what they're saying in this article. And this is just specifically speaking on this article, nothing else. And if you click this link, it tells you the things that they're not looking at. They're not looking at gender, relationship status, just a lot of different things that they're not concerned with. So I won't click on that. But basically, it goes on to break down the categories to consider as it relates to calculating your score. And it just unpacks payment history, what it is, amounts owed, length of credit history, and amounts owed is credit utilization. So that's basically you dealing with credit cards or lines of credit and how much you actually owe. So I unpacked that one. Having credit accounts and owing money on them does not necessarily mean that you're a high-risk borrower with low Fico score. However, if you're using a lot of your available credit, this may indicate that you are overextended, and banks can interpret this to mean that you are at a high risk of defaulting. So that just goes to show that your amounts owed as well as your credit utilization needs to be lowered as well. And this is true for loans and credit cards, but especially for the credit cards, because you want to have your utilization levels at a great level. Just something to consider. And then it unpacks length of credit history, credit mix, new credit, But I won't read that verbatim. I just want you to know how it's calculated so you can understand what you need to do, what areas you need to focus on, what areas may be lagging on your score. So you can say, you know what, I don't have good payment history. Let me make sure I don't miss another payment. You know what, I got too much stuff I owe. Let me pay some stuff down. Let me get my credit cards down. You know what, I hadn't had any new credit in years. Let me establish some new credit somewhere that can help me. You know what, I don't have a good mixture. Maybe I need to use my credit for a little longer. I'm just young in the credit game and I haven't had credit long enough. But now you know what areas you need to focus on so you can do it individually or simultaneously as I recommend. And you may want to go about cleaning up some of the old things that are on your report that are hurting your score. If you want to learn more about how to do that, then get access to our free credit class by using the link below. 100% free, just our way of saying, you know what, we have some knowledge that we feel somebody can take, apply, and get some results with, and that's our way of giving that to you. So take full advantage of it. Share this with somebody who you feel may benefit. That's all I got for this video. Mr. Smith, signing out.